So my name is Michael Crowder. I have the privilege of serving as NACD's first vice president. In my real life and my real job, I have been the general manager of the Barker Ranch in West Richland, Washington State, Washington as we say, for more than 20 years, and I have been a full partner since 2013. In 2000, I graduated from Purdue University with degrees in natural resources, environmental science, and a master's in wildlife. I've had the passion for the land, for hunting, hiking, and just generally being outdoors my whole life. Along with the ranch in Washington State, I'm a partner in my family's third generation 160-acre corn, soybeans, and grass hay farm in southern Indiana, and I have multiple personal conservation easements in the state of Illinois. My wife and I live on the ranch in Washington State, and our children, which consist of two very large tame turkeys that if you crack the door open, they're coming in looking for handouts. We have two very large black labs that work every day, and we have 13 chickens, and that's as much responsibility as we could handle in our house. Our ranch consists of a little over 2,000 acres along the Yakima River in the shrub steppe deserts of eastern Washington with over 5 miles of river frontage. And when I moved to Washington, you think of Seattle and coffee and rainforest. No, I live in the desert, 6 to 8 inch rainfall zone. And our primary mission of the ranch is we manage wetlands for migratory waterfowl, ducks, geese, and sandhill cranes. Very unusual primary mission in a 6 to 8 inch rainfall zone. So myself and my partners have used voluntary conservation programs to transform what was essentially an overgrazed cattle pasture in 1994 that had some wetlands on it into a world-class waterfowl and crane haven. In managing for these wildlife, we utilize cattle in a very rigorous grazing management plan to achieve our vegetation habitat goals. I have given tours to literally thousands of people during my tenure to display how we successfully manage for wildlife. And as my wife can vouch, I'm never without a soil probe or a shovel in the summertime. I use that a lot. And I love showing people, guests, tours, my workers. We have interns in the summer. I love showing them, here's your water depth. Here's what the soil looks like. This is modeling in the soil. I love showing the guest how you delineate moist soils from the upland soils. I had the privilege of serving 8 years as an adjunct professor at Washington State University and loved taking hundreds of students on tours and preaching about soil health, wetland management, wildlife management, and more. During that time, I had graduate students working on weed control using goat herds, wood duck nesting boxes, and expansion of noxious aquatic weeds in the Yakima and Columbia rivers. Myself and the Barker Ranch have been acknowledged as soil health champions for our efforts in not only producing wildlife habitat in both wetland and upland areas in a low rainfall zone, and we do this by the use of intensive flash grazing and no-till plantings. But more important to me, it's the success of, we're missing a page. More important to me, have the right page here. And that was impromptu. But more important to me, it's showing the success that we've achieved to several thousand elementary school students, high school students, undergraduate students, graduate level, interns, teachers, professors, biologists, conservationists, cattlemen, and more. We take tours to anybody that wants to see how we can use these conservation tools for the regular farmer. We have not only hosted tours, but we've hosted multiple Farm Bill listening sessions and one NACD Pacific Southwest Region meeting. And by my count earlier, I believe there are over 200 people in this room that have taken a tour in my Polaris Ranger, my old Chevy truck, or up to multiple 50-person buses. I tend to ramble on about irrigation efficiencies and soil health, wildlife, and what they mean to me and my partners. Tim Palmer has joked about don't look me in the eye during a meeting because I'll give you an invite, and I just did that with Chief Laura right now. As an ag producer, I participated in a conservation project on the ranch sometime around the year 2000, and this was in cooperation with the Washington Department of Ecology and our local conservation district, and I thought that was a really cool project. A year or so later, a supervisor from the Benton Conservation District asked me if I would be interested in attending a meeting. So in 2009, I was appointed as associate supervisor. In 2012, I was elected supervisor. And then later in that year, I ran for area director for the Washington Association of Conservation Districts. And succeeding in that, I became a board member. In 2013, when the great Wade Troutman, can't see out there, but he moved up to the executive board, and we had an opening for national director at WACD, and I was elected to that, which became an officer and executive board member. And in those duties, I became a board member in 2013 of NACD. In that time, I have chaired several committees, one being the founding chair of the tribal RPG. I've also been a member of the Policy Book Committee, Legislative Committee, Audit Committee, and others. 2017, I was voted second vice president, 2019, first vice president, and later on, tomorrow, I hope to be elected as president-elect. And so I am getting a little bit emotional because I really care about this. I can't tell you what an honor it is to represent the farmers, ranchers, and conservationists from my own county all the way up to 50 states and the 7 U.S. territories. While on my journeys at NACD, I have participated in meetings and field tours with district officials in at least 24 states and 2 territories now. I've met thousands of conservation leaders and producers, and I'm always amazed at how excited supervisors, staff members, and cooperating producers get when they talk about their own farms and the project they do on their land. These folks are leaders that I admire for the passion they show. To me, leadership in part means looking out for one another and working together to create a better tomorrow. That means that anyone involved with conservation work is inherently a leader. Together we work side by side in our offices or in our fields every day to manage our natural resources for a better tomorrow. We all know that managed lands are healthier lands, and that locally led conservation helps inform the best possible decisions on our landscape. As President Tim Palmer mentioned this morning, NACD officers, executive board members, and staff have traveled extensively this year. It amazes me that last summer I visited a coffee plantation in the rainforests of Puerto Rico, and a month later I was in cattle grazing pastures in the saltwater flats of Kachemak Bay in Alaska. These areas are drastically different, but if you listen to the producers that are there, they still have the same desires and needs of conservation programs. They want to protect the soil, have clean water, increase food production, and conserve their natural resources. Leadership is a common theme throughout this luncheon and throughout this meeting. I gave a background of myself and my career to show you that I literally am just another producer. I am no different than any of you. You could see me at the seed dealer, the chemical dealer, the stockyard, or the equipment auction, because I'm there a lot. I have chosen to step up and help lead and be a voice for conservation, and I'm calling on all of you to do that in your district, in your county, your state, your region, and beyond. One of the defining traits of being a leader is their commitment to growing the next generation of leaders. Conservation districts have been in place for 75 years because, like the people who came before us, we reach out to our neighbors and help them. We try to teach them to be better stewards of the land for tomorrow's generation.